This has been an amazing couple of days so far and more adventures to come. 66 exhibitors in this hall. Every one of them has a unique contribution to make to development. So I'd like to ask you to join with me in thanking them for all their great work. IREX, I'm Bob Pearson, the president of IREX. We're deeply honored to work in partnership with the White House, the State Department, USAID, the U.S. Congress, and all of the universities, businesses, and nonprofits, and you, the Mandela Washington Fellows, to come together to make this vision of President Obama a reality. I also want to take this moment to just say thank you to the IREX team who have worked so hard to help these 3 days be successful, and ask you to join me in thanking them. You know, people like to refer often to young adults as future leaders, but that is not how we think. We think that you are already leaders, and we know that you are already leaders. And this component of the Young Leaders Initiative deals with current leaders for the future. In your journey with us, we've been privileged to learn about your successes, launching new businesses, expanding NGO services to your home communities, and a host of other accomplishments that led you here. So just as the Washington Fellowships are a component of the broader YALI initiative, so too YALI is an important part of the United States' long-standing and deep commitment to the continent of Africa. You know, now you are not only leaders in your own communities, you are now on the international stage, and you have the obligations that come with that new role. You've served as cultural ambassadors to the U.S. You will continue to foster relations between the U.S. and your home countries when you return. With your dreams, which you've shared with us, come your responsibilities now to make it so. And we can't wait to watch and walk with you on your journey. Now, I'm very happy to have the honor to introduce Heather Higginbottom, the Deputy Secretary of State for Management and Resources. Heather Higginbottom participates at the highest level of the global responsibilities for U.S. foreign policy and has broad management and programmatic oversight responsibilities for both the Department of State and the U.S. Agency for International Development. She is the first woman to take the office of Deputy Secretary of State. She has most recently served as counselor to Secretary of State Kerry, advising him directly on policy, on personnel, and on management issues. She served previously in the Office of Management and Budget. She was the Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy Director of the White House Democratic Policy Council, advising the President directly on a host of issues. And I would say that her distinguished career is a model for women who are dedicating their lives to public service. So please join me in welcoming Deputy Secretary of State Higginbottom to the stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here today. It's my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to this inaugural private sector and civil society exposition of the Mandela Washington YALI Summit. It's wonderful to see fellows, private partners, civil society members, and government officials all gathered together for this expo, and having the chance to walk around and speak to both the exhibitors and the fellows has really been not just the highlight of my day, but of, I think, this whole month. What wonderful energy in this room. And the energy is a testament to what we're trying to accomplish, because together we can support the development of all of these remarkable and inspirational young leaders, promote a prosperous future for our countries, and deepen the partnerships between our people. As you heard from the President yesterday, the Mandela Young African Leaders Initiative is a historic opportunity to support the next generation of African entrepreneurs, educators, activists, and innovators as you work to build brighter futures for your communities and your countries. I know that all of you, just like young people here in the United States and elsewhere around the world, are determined to take ownership and responsibility for your futures. And what we're here to do is to provide you with support, with partnership, and with friendship. That's the motivation behind the Mandela Yali Initiative, and today's exposition is part of that effort to provide a platform of partnership between Africa's best and brightest young minds and America's best and brightest companies and organizations. Secretary Kerry and I are firmly convinced that partnership among for-profit and nonprofit institutions, government, and civil society is a critical key to progress. I recently had the chance to travel to Senegal, Kenya, and Liberia, and I heard again and again from young leaders about the importance of connecting them with leaders in government, in civil society, in the private sector. And many of the fellows we are celebrating here today have experienced the power of that partnership firsthand. Take Eric Mutomi. Is Eric here somewhere? Where is he? He has been recognized by Forbes as one of Africa's top 30 under 30 entrepreneurs, and his food processing company, Stawi Foods, is not only answering strong local consumer demand, but also answering a global demand for healthier and more sustainable foods. Stawi Foods, through products such as gluten-free banana flour, is generating higher incomes for small farmers, the majority of whom are women, improving nutritional content for children and families, and creating new jobs for young people. And thanks to the U.S. African Development Foundation funding, Eric will be able to grow his support network, operations, and workforce. Eunice Lukuku from Kenya has also shown great leadership by providing economic opportunities to former prostitutes. Where are you, Eunice? Somewhere around here in this room. I want to meet these people. She has helped more than 50 women successfully complete a remediation and training program and then launch their own businesses, including one 15-year-old former prostitute who was able to earn enough money to house and send her 4 siblings to school. Cindy Lee Kloot from South Africa runs a leading environmental organization in Cape Town, which seeks to change the way citizens view wildlife and natural resources through environmental education and community outreach programs. Cindy began this campaign to engage local communities after being robbed at gunpoint by locals while she was working with animals in the bush. Of course, as all of you know, these are just a few examples of the many exceptional leaders who are in this room and who are participating in this fellowship. And they are committed to taking on some of the toughest challenges that we face. The Yali Initiative and your support for it can duplicate and multiply these success stories in other sectors, from energy and infrastructure to health and democracy promotion. We are so fortunate to have strong private and civil society partners here with us today. Companies such as AECOM Technology Corporation, Coca-Cola, and IBM, who partnered with universities to host our 6-week institutes, to civil society organizations like the World Resources Institute and Ashoka, who hosted Yali interns this summer. And in addition to their classes, fellows engaged in discussions about Africa's future with leaders at businesses and organizations such as Google, McDonald's, the world champion San Antonio Spurs, Chambers of Commerce, and the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Fellows also participated in community service projects, mentoring youth, working to promote sustainable agricultural practices and supporting charity races, and saw firsthand the power of volunteerism and community activism. This 6-week fellowship, as robust and important as it is just the beginning of our long-term relationship with these young leaders. Over the next year, USAID will match the fellows with tailored internships, professional mentoring, and regional and continent-wide networking and training events. They'll intern with private enterprises such as Microsoft, the Corporate Council on Africa, and Coca-Cola, as well as public and civil society institutions, allowing these fellows to put their newly acquired skills and experiences to work in service of their personal futures and in service of Africa's future. And as these fellows continue on their journeys, we hope to be able to stand by their sides for many years to come. In addition to the sustained professional development opportunities offered through Yali, we will ensure that the fellows have access to dedicated funding opportunities to support their ideas, businesses, and organizations. The U.S. government, through the U.S. African Development Foundation, has begun distributing $5 million in small grants over the next 3 years to fellows seeking to start or expand their own businesses or social enterprises. As the President announced yesterday, we'll grow and expand the Mandela Yali program, and we will also continue to deepen our reach to young leaders beyond the fellowship program. This year, we received nearly 50,000 applications for these 500 fellowships. And as the fellows in this room can attest, these were not easy applications to complete. This outpouring of interest is not just a reflection of the deep interest in this program's offering, but also of the boundless commitment and dedication of these leaders to write their future and to make a difference. Already more than 65,000 young people from across Africa have signed up to be part of the Yali Network, a virtual community we launched that offers education, training, networking, and funding opportunities to any and all young Africans who sign up. We're also creating Yali spaces and regional centers and increasing our engagement through our embassies, 43 of which already have youth councils. During my recent trip to Africa, I had a chance to meet some of the outstanding young leaders who were runners-up for this fellowship program. Their stories, enthusiasm, and commitment to their countries were inspiring and moving. And just as we're counting on them, they're counting on us, and we owe them our strong and unwavering support. So with the help of the people in this room and many others, year after year, step after step, these partnerships will grow bigger and better, and together we'll accomplish bigger and bolder things. To maintain this momentum, all of us in this room will need to demonstrate continued leadership and a fierce determination to never lose sight of our goal. That can be hard in a world full of disasters and distractions, but we can't afford to waver, and we can't afford to let the ties that bind us loosen, even for a moment. We have before us a truly historic opportunity, and we can and must seize it. And I'm confident that the network that we're building here today and in the years to come will help us all succeed together. It would help the people in this room and their peers across the continent of Africa do what every young person desires to do: write their own future and their own story. Thank you so much for being a part of this expo, for being participants, wonderful, inspiring, accomplished participants in the Yali program, and we look forward to your continued engagement when you return home. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Higginbottom, for that, for those wonderful remarks. I've had the pleasure of introducing USAID Administrator Shah before, and it's always a privilege to talk about his many accomplishments, his foresight, his vision, his commitment to a better world through a more effective and caring USAID acting on behalf of the American people. He is serving as the 16th administrator of USAID. He leads the efforts of more than 9,600 professionals in 80 missions around the world. Since being sworn in on December 31st, 2009, he has managed the U.S. government's response to the devastating 2010 earthquake in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, co-chaired the State Department's first review of American diplomacy and development operations, and now he spearheads President Barack Obama's landmark Feed the Future food security initiative. He's making his mark every day in many ways that will permanently shape the course of development for our country, for Africa, and for the world. Prior to joining the Obama administration, he served for 7 years with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, including as Director of Agricultural Development in the Global Development Program and as Director of Strategic Opportunities. He's shown himself to be a quick study, a tireless advocate for ever-improving progress in the development sector. He's established great relations with the Congress and the American people, both vital to the continuing health of American development. He has a special rapport with Africa and its concerns. Please join me in welcoming him to speak to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. That was very, very nice of you. Thank you. A little unexpected. Thank you. I appreciate that kind introduction, Bob. It was very, very nice. And I'm thrilled to be here with my friend, the Deputy Secretary of State, Heather Higginbottom, who really has taken the responsibility for all of us to make sure that Yali serves each of you and helps to fulfill your dreams and ambitions. And that's a tough task because Heather and I both know that you have big dreams and big ambitions, and that's how you became a Yali Fellow to begin with. I want to take a moment and just recognize some of the partners that are going to help us help you, especially after the Washington component of this program ends and you go back to your home countries. Partners like the MasterCard Foundation, Dow Chemical Company, Atlas Mara, the Mara Foundation, Microsoft, McKinsey & Company, IBM, General Electric, Procter & Gamble, and Intel. You guys must be really special for all of these different partners to come together and say, we want to work to invest in you in Africa for the future. Now, I do want to make sure I introduce two of my colleagues, Chris Runyon and Erica Navarro. Both of them, Erica, put your hand up. Where's Chris? Chris, put your hand up. If you, I'm doing this partly, I'm going to do some slides in a minute, so I'm going to come around, but I'm doing this partly so people can go up to them and meet them. They are responsible for helping you when you are back in your home country connect to USAID programs and entrepreneurial opportunities. So don't let them leave here without saying hi and introducing yourself. So I'm going to, if this clicker works, can I come around? Will that be okay? I just want to see the slides. So I want to show you a couple of quick slides. This first one is from Djibouti, and I was at the airport, and I want to thank Khadija Sanalese, Hassan Abdi, and Mohammed Ali Hassan. Hey guys, for coming to meet me there. I know the stuff you're doing is so extraordinary. Hassan told me about the speech algorithms he's using to protect the Somali language. Khadija is helping to build social safety nets to help end extreme poverty. And Mohammed has been bringing his extraordinary private sector skills to this task. And you know, I spent a day in Djibouti. It was a lot of fun, very productive. But the best part was the time with the fellows, because you always get a sense that you're going to do something special, and we're going to try to help you do it. And that's what this should be all about. So you bring an energy and a purpose to your work, and it's very exciting. So I don't know if any of you were here with us in Cape Town when President Obama launched the Yali Fellowship and the Yali program last summer. But that room was packed with 1,500 people who wanted to celebrate the basic idea that he had that young people can build a brighter future for the continent of Africa and for the whole world, and that we need to do more to support you in your endeavors. And my favorite part of that town hall discussion was a young teacher stood up and asked the president if he had any advice for her, because she had to teach a class, I think in Soweto, in the township, and the class had one teacher, no textbooks, and 90 students. You know, and what the president said was, you know, that he started in public service working with schools and communities in Chicago, and he has seen similar challenges that American teachers face, and he talked through how we're trying to solve those problems in American education. Actually, Heather, before joining the State Department, led to create things like the Promised Neighborhoods and some really innovative projects here in the United States to deal with the very same problem. But the exciting part of that was it was a moment when we realized that the challenges we face are similar, and we can learn from each other as we go forward with this Yali initiative. Now, is this working? There we go. So some of you this past Sunday met with my colleague Kate Gage. Where's Kate? Kate, put your hand up. That's Kate. Kate is part of a new entity we've created called the U.S. Global Development Lab. And I think maybe 60 of you or 30 of you sat down with Kate and shared your ideas. The point of the lab is to bring more science, technology, and innovation and entrepreneurship to the practice of development on the ground. So if you have a startup business idea, if you have a technology you want to deploy maybe on mobile phones to help address poverty and achieve humanitarian objectives, we want to help you do that. We can do it through the U.S. Global Development Lab, and we hope you will reach out to Kate and myself and others while you're here so that we can learn from your experience and promote your efforts to be innovators. As part of that, you know, President Obama announced these regional leadership centers, and USAID is proud to commit nearly $38 million to help stand up these centers, initially in 4 locations, and we'll expand this effort over time. These centers are intended to be places where we have a hub of programs and resources that can support you and support thousands of others who are very talented, who've applied to be part of the fellowship but didn't, we didn't have the chance to bring everybody here. And I very much hope you will become ambassadors for these regional centers, these programs, the U.S. Global Development Lab, and other efforts to support innovation and entrepreneurship to achieve our shared aspirations. And here is what success can sometimes look like. One of the most inspiring moments I had was the chance to meet with a group of Kenyan young people that are part of the Yes Youth Can movement. Is anyone here part of Yes Youth Can? All right, man, go for it. So Yes Youth Can was an effort to mobilize thousands of young people and make sure that in Kenya, what's that? More than a million young people, as he points out, to make sure that the Kenyan elections were conducted in a fair and open manner, and to avoid some of, let's face it, the near genocidal-like violence that we saw in 2007. And, when that started, I remember a lot of people saying, oh, you need to go get experts and send professionals, and, why are you making these investments in young people? Because what do they know about how to protect against genocidal violence? And the reality is, in a very difficult context, you did it, and you succeeded. And it shows the power of what YALI can do on the continent and all over the world. So we are eager to be a part of it. We're eager to support you. I hope you'll say hi to some of the folks I tried to introduce from USAID, because they really do want to learn from you and find ways to make sure that you're successful. And congratulations on getting through this fellowship. We wish you the very best of luck in the future. Thank you.
I think we have time for just a couple of questions, so I would like one of our young women fellows, and I can't see very well, I'll be honest with you, in the audience, but I need one of our young women fellows to come forward and ask a question, and then I'm going to ask one of our young men to do likewise, if you will, please. So, in America we love volunteering, so I'd like to have a volunteer. Is there someone who would like to ask a question? Get to you next, sir. I have one of our... Somebody?
You got a question? There we go, right here.
Okay, thank you very much, please. There should be a mic coming to you, and if you would tell us who you are and what country you're from, and ask your question, please.
Thank you. My name is Ndutie Colombe. I am from the beautiful country of 1,000 Hill, Rwanda. I'm going to ask this question regarding the creative industry. According to the UN 2013 report, the creative industry has raised from 200 billion to 500 billion to 2008, but all 83% was in the export part across the Western country and the USA, which means the rest is just the sales that have been made across Africa. So my question is, since we realize that this creative industry is something that is a trend that can produce, but the problem is that most of the African leaders and even Western leaders don't believe in the creative industry in a way that they only start believing in you if you already have built a name, and this is when you actually don't need those funds. And we know that how the creative industry can voice out for so many projects, even humanitarian projects, to voice out so that many people can adhere to the different initiatives. So my question is, what is the future plan the USA has to invest in the creative industry, and especially in education?
Well, yeah, should I take that? So that's a great question. And you're right that the creative industry is a potential source of growth and that can create both jobs but also whole industries within it. And I don't know how many of you saw, there was a New York Times piece, was it this past weekend, on the large coming African consumer market? Did you see that piece? It was prominent in the New York Times. And you know, you're absolutely right that as we look forward, whether it's fashion designers, musicians, architects, other product designers, those core creative skills will be more and more valuable in the economy, and we're already trying to incorporate more of that in the work that we do. You know, I actually was part of helping to pull together this project in Eastern Congo, where they're using a franchise model connected to a little debit card to help people coming out of conflict have access to certain health services and education and other things. And a company called IDEO, have you heard of IDEO? They're probably one of America's hottest design companies. They designed the physical space, they designed the card, the logo, and everything. And you know, good design makes a huge difference in whether people are going to use those services and products, and it's getting off to a great start, in part because they valued and incorporated real creative design in the work. So we're trying to do that more. I think you're right, and you know, that often governments aren't protecting intellectual property, they aren't supporting the industries in the same way. And if there are YALI fellows who have that as an area of interest, we're committed to helping to serve as a voice for you in country, maybe advocating for some of those intellectual property protections to help get the industry off the ground.
Now this gentleman in the brown suit who had raised his hand, yeah, thank you very much. Would you please tell us your name and your country and then ask your question? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm Vital Sunuvu. I'm from the Republic of Benin in West Africa. And my question, when we were I was in UT Austin for my intern for the 6 weeks. And I had a chance to meet amazing young entrepreneurs from the US. And I was able to connect some of them with some young entrepreneurs in my country. And I realized that sometimes you don't really need necessarily funds to make a business grow faster. Sometimes it takes partnership. So my question is, did you consider connecting startups from the US with young entrepreneurs in Africa? We have the land, we have the ideas in Africa, but sometimes we just lack the technology. Or we just take the 3D printer, for example. We have the resources in Africa, and you can just connect. Small connections can make big impact. So did you consider connecting young Americans and young Africans?
So, well, thank you so much for the question. And you have on the burnt orange of the University of Texas at Austin. You clearly have incorporated the UT ethos. So yeah, absolutely. Something that's really important to the YALI Fellowship, the YALI network that we're building, is the opportunity to have, to create networks and to create those opportunities. And what we want to do is build on that. We want to bring more partners in. We want to create more avenues for there to be communication as well as collaboration. And one of the things that I'm sure you all have talked about a lot over the last couple of days is the opportunity and obligations that you have when you return to help expand that network and open those doors. And one of the things that we're seeking through this summit, through the Washington part of this, is the feedback to know what's valuable. So as we're building out this program and these services, we understand what connects the best with the projects, the businesses, and the efforts that you're undertaking back at home. And so it's incredibly valuable for us to bring those resources and to connect people, and I think there's a huge amount of interest. You see it in this room, but it extends far beyond this room. And then we have also asks of you to help us create those channels so we can exchange information. So I think that's something that is at the heart of this, but that we want to build and expand upon. So keep that feedback coming in. I don't know, Raj, if you want to add anything to that.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, and thank you for a wonderful afternoon. And I want to thank the Deputy Secretary and the AID Administrator for being here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.